Good evening, everybody. I'm very happy to be speaking to you from Strasbourg. This is Wednesday of our January plenary session. And I wanted to make a recording this week to go on my usual vlog about where we are with Brexit. And it's been really hard to know exactly when the right time would be to do that because things are changing so quickly. And yet they change so little. It's a very strange situation. So just a resume of where I stand on this. We know that last night in London there was a resounding vote against the government's deal. And of course I've been spending quite a lot of today explaining to fellow MEPs what that means because it's misunderstood by many. Many believe that that means there's a massive antipathy to the government, but of course, as I think we're going to find out later tonight, the government's no doubt going to survive a no confidence vote. So explaining to people that it's a coalition of interests, so it is people who really would like Brexit under any circumstances with no deal, and those who would like to remain under any circumstances, all this unholy alliance voting against that deal. So where we are is that the government have absolutely no mandate for the deal that they've put forward, but they appear to have absolutely no ideas and no imagination about what the alternative should be. And I was a bit taken aback to listen to the Prime Minister at PMQs today and discover that actually this newfound spirit of cooperating with people from across the House seems to really only apply to the DUP, and I thought she was talking to them anyway, so it's all a bit confusing. So where do we go from here? Well, it seems to me that there are really only two alternatives. After tonight's vote on confidence, Mrs May, it seems, will have to go back to Brussels and ask for further movements. But she needs to tell them what area that she's prepared to move in, because it is really quite unrealistic to go back to Brussels and say, right, you've got an agreement with 27 member states. We would like you to unravel that whole agreement completely and start from the beginning. It's not going to happen like that. So she has to be very clear about which areas she can move in and ask for those areas to be reopened, and I think she would get a result. But if she goes with something nebulous, to use that word that was bandied about in Brussels recently, then she won't get very far because, frankly, patience is running out. Now, whether you agree with that, whether you think that's right or wrong or punitive towards the UK, it doesn't really matter. That's the case. That is the situation, that the EU is getting rather fed up with the UK, and really they've got other things to move on to. There are many things going on, as you will know, and not least European elections coming up next May, and they would like to be in a position where they can fight those European elections without the albatross of Brexit hanging around their necks. So I believe that either she goes back and renegotiates, and honestly, do I think she's going to do that? No, I don't. I don't think she's that sort of politician, frankly. So we're going to end up with either going out, the can kicked further down, we leave on the 29th of March with no deal, which I know would suit many of the people listening because they want Brexit at any price. Or for those of you who agree with me that would be an absolute disaster, we have only one alternative, and that's to go for an extension of Article 50 and a people's vote. How long should that extension of Article 50 be? Well, we have the European elections on the 23rd of May, so it's highly unlikely that it can be crossing that barrier. But can we get a second vote in before the 23rd of May? Many commentators think not. So still a lot of work to be done there. But here in Strasbourg, my job is to really let people from other member states, my fellow MEPs, know what the situation is in the UK and try and enunciate what we want and try and make sure that the gates, the doors are left open to allow us to come up with something that works for both sides. So I will continue to do that, and I will look forward to reporting back to you on where we go with that. So with that, good night from Strasbourg, and I'll speak to you all again next month.